Anxiety is telling you something. It's telling you about a certain fear. But anxiety stems from the future. I've said this multiple times in videos. At least my particular thinking comes from someone else. It's not really entirely my thoughts. I learned this from somewhere else. So, of course, there is no possible guarantee that this is true. I think there's always uncertainty with everything. There's just my personal opinion as a skeptic, but 99.9999 repeating 9% chance that what I'm saying about anxiety is true. Or the definition of anxiety, that is. Not everything I'll say is that accurate. But anxiety stems from the future. You can't be anxious if you're thinking in the present. Like, if you think about it, all anxiety is just thoughts about the future. I'm anxious about going to this party. I'm anxious that this girl's gonna reject me. Those are all events happening in the future. You don't get anxious about, I don't know. You don't get anxious about presentation in the moment. Like you don't feel anxious during that. You're just focused on presenting. At least I hope so. Or you don't get anxious about like the act of presenting in the moment. You get anxious about the outcome of the presentation. You get anxious about if people are gonna think that I did terrible or not. But you don't get anxious about like the act itself while you're doing it. So anxiety is about the thoughts about the future. Particularly most commonly fear, some fear in the future, some fear about the future, really. And anxiety is telling you to act in a certain way. It is telling you to choose. But it's still up to you to choose. I'm anxious about asking a girl out because I fear that she'll reject me. Will I still go up and ask her? Or will I walk away? It's still up to you. It's still your choice to follow your anxiety or not. I think that for the most part, not following your anxiety and still going to do the task is much better. Not falling for the anxiety of rejection and walking up to the girl and asking her out is much better than not asking her at all. Because if you don't ask her at all, you don't get an answer, and that leaves you wondering until you ask her. That's going to make you even more anxious. It's much easier to nip the problem at the bud than when it starts to grow and fester. It's like cleaning. It's much easier to maintain cleanliness than to not clean for like half a year and then clean everything at once. It's much easier to do that first. The final thing is anxiety is protective. And anxiety protects you. We have evolved to be anxious because it's been useful. Oh, are you seeing? That's another fly. Well, anyway. Anxiety is protective. We would not survive as long if we weren't anxious. But in this current age, not when we're hunter-gatherers, where a threat could be seen from any place, anxiety is more so destructive now because we're not used to constant anxiety. We didn't evolve to always be anxious 24/7. We're not really 24, but like for the most of the day. Back as hunter-gatherers, we'd be anxious on a hunt that would last at most like a couple days, and then we would enjoy the fruits of our labor for a couple of days. It'll be like this on and off cycle. It wouldn't just be a constant state of anxiety. So know that anxiety was protective. But right now it's, at least for most people, I don't think that it is very productive. So choose how to act in the face of anxiety. You choose. You have the power. You choose. Do you follow or do you not? Your choice. It's all up to you. Because it's your life. It's not your anxiety's life. It's your life. So choose.